For there are many such passages, particularly in the Odyssey, as, for example, the passage in which Theoclymenus, the prophet of the house of Melampus, says to the suitors, "Wretched men, what is happening to you? Your heads and your faces and your limbs underneath are shrouded in night, and the voice of lamentation bursts forth, and your cheeks are wet with tears, and the vestibule is full, and the court is full of ghosts descending into the darkness of Erebus, and the sun has perished out of heaven, and an evil mist is spread abroad." And there are many such passages in the Iliad also, as, for example, in the description of the battle near the rampart, where he says, "As they were eager to pass the ditch, there came to them an omen, a soaring eagle holding back the people on the left, bore a huge bloody dragon in his talons, still living and panting, nor had he yet resigned the strife, for he bent back and smote the bird which carried him on the breast by the neck, and he in pain let him fall from him to the ground into the midst of the multitude. And the eagle with a cry was borne afar on the wings of the wind." These are the sort of things which I should say that the prophet ought to consider and determine. Ion: And you are quite right, Socrates, in saying so. Socrates: Yes, Ion, and you are right also. And as I have selected from the Iliad and Odyssey for you passages which describe the office of the prophet and the physician and the fisherman, do you, who know Homer so much better than I do, Ion, select for me passages which relate to the rhapsode and the rhapsode's art, and which the rhapsode ought to examine and judge of better than other men. Ion: All passages, I should say, Socrates. Socrates: Not all, Ion, surely. Have you already forgotten what you were saying? A rhapsode ought to have a better memory. Ion: Why, what am I forgetting? Socrates: Do you not remember that you declared the art of the rhapsode to be different from the art of the charioteer? Ion: Yes, I remember. Socrates: And you admitted that being different, they would have different subjects of knowledge? Ion: Yes. Socrates: Then upon your own showing, the rhapsode and the art of the rhapsode will not know everything. Ion: I should exclude certain things, Socrates. Socrates: You mean to say that you would exclude pretty much the subjects of the other arts? As he does not know all of them, which of them will he know? Ion: He will know what a man and what a woman ought to say, and what a freeman and what a slave ought to say, and what a ruler and what a subject. Socrates: Do you mean that a rhapsode will know better than the pilot what the ruler of a sea-tossed vessel ought to say? Ion: No, the pilot will know best. Socrates: Or will the rhapsode know better than the physician what the ruler of a sick man ought to say? Ion: He will not. Socrates: But he will know what a slave ought to say? Ion: Yes. Socrates: Suppose the slave to be a cowherd. The rhapsode will know better than the cowherd what he ought to say in order to soothe the infuriated cows? Ion: No, he will not. Socrates: But he will know what a spinning woman ought to say about the working of wool? Ion: No. Socrates: At any rate, he will know what a general ought to say when exhorting his soldiers. Ion: Yes, that is the sort of thing which the rhapsode will be sure to know. Socrates: Well, but is the art of the rhapsode the art of the general? Ion: I am sure that I should know what a general ought to say. Socrates: Why, yes, Ion, because you may possibly have a knowledge of the art of the general as well as of the rhapsode, and you may also have a knowledge of horsemanship as well as of the lyre, and then you would know when horses were well or ill managed. But suppose I were to ask you, by the help of which art, Ion, do you know whether horses are well managed? By your skill as a horseman, or as a performer on the lyre? What would you answer? Ion: I should reply by my skill as a horseman. Socrates: And if you judged of performers on the lyre, you would admit that you judged them as a performer on the lyre, and not as a horseman? Ion: Yes. Socrates: And in judging of the general's art, do you judge it as a general or a rhapsode? Ion: To me there appears to be no difference between them. Socrates: What do you mean? Do you mean to say that the art of the rhapsode and of the general is the same? Ion: Yes, one and the same. Socrates: Then he who is a good rhapsode is also a good general? Ion: Certainly, Socrates. Socrates: And he who is a good general is also a good rhapsode? Ion: No, I do not say that. Socrates: But you do say that he who is a good rhapsode is also a good general? Ion: Certainly. Socrates: And you are the best of Hellenic rhapsodes? Ion: Far the best, Socrates. Socrates: And are you the best general, Ion? Ion: To be sure, Socrates. And Homer was my master. Socrates: But then, Ion, what in the name of goodness can be the reason why you, who are the best of generals, as well as the best of rhapsodes in all Hellas, go about as a rhapsode when you might be a general? Do you think that the Hellenes want a rhapsode with his golden crown, and do not want a general? Ion: Why, Socrates, the reason is that my countrymen, the Ephesians, are the servants and soldiers of Athens, and do not need a general, and you and Sparta are not likely to have me, for you think that you have enough generals of your own. Socrates: My good Ion, did you never hear of Apollodorus of Cyzicus? Ion: Who may he be? Socrates: One who, though a foreigner, has often been chosen their general by the Athenians. And there is Phanosthenes of Andros, and Heraclides of Clazomene, whom they have also appointed to the command of their armies and to other offices, although aliens, after they had shown their merit. And will they not choose Ion the Ephesian to be their general, and honor him if he prove himself worthy? Were not the Ephesians originally Athenians, and Ephesus is no mean city? But, indeed, Ion, if you are correct in saying that by art and knowledge you are able to praise Homer, you do not deal fairly with me, and after all your professions of knowing many glorious things about Homer, and promises that you would exhibit them, you are only a deceiver